The situation aboard the submersible, this Titanic submersible, is ending in tragedy. They thought yesterday that they were hearing knocking from the seafloor. It now turns out that they're not sure whether that knocking was actually coming from the submersible or whether it was just equipment that was dropping off of the Titanic, because the Titanic itself continues to decay, of course. According to the UK Daily Mail, the Coast Guard is still saying that they are hunting for these Titanic 5, and they're looking for survivors, but oxygen supply has apparently run out. The OceanGate co-founder says that it's possible that they have more oxygen down there, or it's possible that if, in fact, they go unconscious because of lack of oxygen, they will be consuming less oxygen, but it seems almost certain that this is going to end in absolute tragedy. According to the Daily Mail, Rear Admiral John Malgar of the U.S. Coast Guard said the operation remains in active search, and he remains hopeful thanks to favorable weather conditions. Asked about the banging noises, he said initial analysis suggested they were background ocean noise, but this was still being examined. So yesterday there was a lot of talk about the idea that maybe the banging that they were hearing was people inside the submersible banging to try and send some sonar indicators that they were still down there or where they were, but they haven't even found the submersible as of this morning. Those stuck on board the sub include British billionaire Hamish Harding, OceanGate CEO Stockton Rush, French Navy veteran P.H. Nargiolais, Pakistani businessman Shahzada Dawood, and his son Suleiman, who's just 19. A deep-water robot sub reached the Atlantic floor. Another is descending the 12,500 feet of ocean fast. The Canadian vessel Horizon Arctic has deployed an ROV that reached the seafloor and began its search for the missing sub, according to a spokesperson. A French ship viewed as the best and final hope of finding the missing Titanic submersible has also dropped its remote-controlled sub to find the 5 missing adventurers. Now, again, as we mentioned yesterday, there are certain things that seem like a bad idea. And it turns out that getting into a jerry-rigged contraption to travel 13,000 feet below sea surface is a bad idea. Here was OceanGate CEO Stockton Rush in one of his last interviews over the course of the last year, talking about how he wasn't worried that much about safety.
I couldn't help noticing how many pieces of this sub seemed improvised.
We can use these off-the-shelf components.
I got these from Camper World. We run the whole thing with this game controller.
Come on! It seems like this submersible has some elements of MacGyver-y jerry-riggedness. I mean, you're putting construction pipes as ballast.
I don't know if I'd use that description of it, but there's certain things that you want to be buttoned down. So the pressure vessel is not MacGyver at all, because that's where we work with Boeing and NASA and the University of Washington. Everything else can fail. Your thrusters can go, your lights can go, you're still going to be safe.
Okay, but the problem is that basically if there's one point of failure, if you're always one point of failure and there are no backup systems available, which is essentially the case with the submersible, you're dead. Right? If your ballast fails, right, you can't get rid of it. It's dragging you to the bottom and it fails. What's your backup? And what happens if your oxygen fails? You're dead. Right? There are a lot of points of failure in this particular system. He said, I mean, if you just want to be safe, don't get out of bed, don't get in your car, don't do anything. At some point, you're going to take some risk. It really is a risk-reward question. Now, one of the questions here is why people are paying this much money to do this sort of thing. I will say that one of the draws, I think, for a lot of very wealthy people who are doing this sort of stuff is the price point, meaning that there comes a point where you have a lot of money, you're a billionaire, like some of the people who are aboard this submersible, and somebody says you can have this experience for an incredible high price point. You immediately go, it must be safe. I mean, if somebody is actually charging you that much money, it's not as though he's going to put me aboard a jerry-rigged vessel using parts from Camping World. Well, not so much, actually, as it turns out. Look around your house. You're redoing a lot of things. Your house is looking much, much better. You did a repainting. You're cleaning up that kitchen. But there's one thing you haven't thought about. That's your window coverings. The way natural light comes into a room makes a huge difference, like a big, big difference. And so you got to replace those window coverings. The best place to do that is over at Blinds.com. Blinds.com is the #1 online retailer of custom window coverings with over 40,000 five-star reviews. You can measure and install it yourself or have Blinds.com take care of it with local professionals. No showroom, no retail markets. No matter how many you order, installation is just one low cost. If you don't have an eye for design, Blinds.com experts can also help you choose the style and color that's right for you. Everything they sell is covered by their perfect fit and 100% satisfaction guarantee, so you got nothing to lose. Shop Blinds.com, save 40% off select products. That's 40% off select products right now at Blinds.com. They make it super easy for you when you check out online. Don't forget to tell them you heard about Blinds.com from The Ben Shapiro Show. Rules and restrictions may apply. Make your house look better today than we have at Shapiro Stan. Right now, 40% off select products at Blinds.com. That's Blinds.com. And make sure you tell them you heard about it here on The Ben Shapiro Show. Everyone I know loves Helix mattress. Why? Well, because it's made just for you. But now they've launched their newest, most high-end collection, Helix Elite. Helix has harnessed years of extensive mattress expertise to bring their customers a truly elevated sleep experience. The Helix Elite collection includes 6 different mattress models, each tailored for specific sleep positions and firmness preferences. I've had my Helix for at least 6-7 years at this point. It's excellent. It's the only thing keeping me alive right now. My baby is waking me up at all hours of the night. Same for my wife. When we put our head down on that mattress, we need to be asleep. And Helix is making that magic happen. I took that Helix quiz. I was matched with a firm but breathable mattress, which is precisely what I need. For a limited time, Helix is offering up to 20% off all mattress orders plus 2 free pillows for our listeners. It's their best offer yet. Hurry on over to helixsleep.com/Ben. Again, it's a fantastic mattress, 10-year warranty. You can try it out for 100 nights risk-free. They'll pick it up for you if you don't love it. It's not going to happen. You're going to love it. Helix has over 12,000 5-star reviews. Their financing options and flexible payment plans make it so a great night's sleep is never far away. Again, for a limited time, Helix is offering up to 20% off all mattress orders plus 2 free pillows for our listeners. It's their best offer yet. Hurry on over to helixsleep.com/Ben. That's helixsleep.com/Ben with Helix. Better sleep starts right now. Again, it is quite possible that the controller that was running this thing was a $49.99 video game controller. According to the Wall Street Journal, it's unclear if OceanGate Expeditions was using a Logitech controller on the Titan when it started its mission on Sunday. A spokesperson for OceanGate declined to comment. Logitech did not respond to requests for comment. The Titan, which is the name of this submersible, lost contact with the ship monitoring it from the surface 1 hour and 45 minutes after it began its dive in the North Atlantic on Sunday morning. The Titanic, again, is 900 miles off Massachusetts Cape Cod. It's in the middle of nowhere. The controller the Titan used in the past was a modified Logitech F710 gamepad with extended joysticks. An earlier version was using the Sony PlayStation 3 controller. So, I mean, again, this does go to one of the questions that people are asking about this, which is why people would do this. Risk of death is mentioned at least 3 times on a waiver they signed before boarding. As they dive deep into the ocean, according to the Wall Street Journal, untethered to the surface, sunlight faded away. In pitch black waters, luminescent creatures became visible through a small porthole. The bone-chilling cold bloomed on the Titan's curved walls, according to past travelers. One comedy writer brought a pad and pencil on a trip last summer. If the vessel failed, said Mike Rice, he'd write jokes from the bottom of the ocean as his last gift to the world. Joseph Wortman, who went on a trip in 2021, said it was sobering to be inside the Titan. He said, this is pretty extreme. If something goes wrong, there's no real out. You can't call 911. You're going to have to figure it out on your own. And again, the air was slated to run out as of Thursday morning. One of the things that is fascinating about this is just how our country is so polarized that everybody goes to sort of politics immediately. It's hard for me to find the political angle on what is obviously a tragedy. I think there are a couple of human angles that are pretty obvious. What drives people to do extreme things and spend a lot of money to do them? So one perspective says this is adventuring, right? This is exploring. This is bravery. Another says that this is basically a form of very high-end tourism. And so the question for me is, if this were an SAT analogy, is this more like you are traveling to space and helping to fund a project that is going to lead to future discoveries, for example, like, Richard Branson or Elon Musk or something? Or is this more like you went on a safari? And this seems to me more like a safari. It's sort of disaster tourism to a certain extent. And so I don't think that you get the explorer points for something that has already been explored and in which there is no new discovery really to be made. That doesn't mean what they're doing is quote unquote morally wrong, although I'm not a big fan of putting yourself in dangerous situations that you don't need to be in unless there is some sort of real upside to it. I think there may be a morality question there, just in terms of the value of human life. If there is no real exploratory upside, then and the safety risk is so high, is that something that you morally should be doing? That's a real question. But that's not the question that people are asking today. The question people are asking today over at the New Republic is, who did the guy donate to? The CEO, which is just, I'm sorry, ridiculous. The New Republic actually ran a headline that said, quote, OceanGate CEO missing in Titanic sub had history of donating to GOP candidates. Well, I mean, I guess that means that he had it coming. I guess it means all those people should die. If he donated to some local congressional Republicans or even to Donald Trump, that means that he should probably, suffocate to death 13,000 feet below the ocean. Ooh, gross stuff there from the New Republic. And you can always count on Eli Mistel of MSNBC to sign in and be terrible as well. He actually tweeted about Sam Alito, quote, next time some rich white person wants to take Sam Alito on an expensive trip, please take him to see the Titanic. Eli Mistel, continuing to be one of the more disgusting people in American politics. There is a sense of glee with a certain crowd when it comes to this, where they're like, oh, billionaires doing stupid things and dying. Well, again, it seems to me that the status of their wealth has very little to do with the moral worth of the decision. Either it's a good decision or it's a bad decision. Them being wealthy doesn't make them worse people for doing the thing. You can say there's better uses for the money, and I would tend to agree with you. But that does not mean that these are people who are innately horrible. I mean, I haven't seen their charitable given. Have you? And in terms of bad use of money, I don't see that there's a massive difference between spending $250,000 to take a submersible down to see the Titanic or spending $250,000 on a random Lamborghini that loses half its value the minute you drive it off the lot, just in terms of if we're going to critique people's spending habits. Yeah, we're done here. Alrighty, guys. If you're not a member, become a member. Use code Shapiro at checkout for 2 months free on all annual plans. Click that link in the description and join us.